To my questions for the nominees before us, just have to express not just disappointment, but alarm. There's been a number of Department of Justice nominees that have come before us, most, if not all, echoing over and over again the respect for the Constitution, the commitment for the Constitution, a commitment to the rule of law. Yet when pressed about whether or not they would be loyal to the Constitution versus potential directives or decisions contrary to existing law and the Constitution, they don't give strong answers, at least none that give us the comfort level that the American people need and deserve. When it comes to something as simple as existing law says this, a court has ordered the administration to stop doing that, to obfuscate, to not, I can't remember a time in history when, of all the nominees, high-ranking Department of Justice officials not adamantly defending the balance of power, co-equal branches of government, the checks and balances built into the Constitution, is telling of the political times that we're living in and alarming. That being said, I know my time is limited, so let me jump into a couple of questions for the folks before us. First, from Mr. Sauer. Now, as Solicitor General, you're tasked with representing the United States before the Supreme Court, should you be confirmed. As an attorney, though, admitted to any state bar in the country, you're tasked with obeying and defending the Constitution of the United States. Now, the President has already defied the Constitution and Supreme Court precedent in issuing an executive order in regards to birthright citizenship. We talked about this in my office. I told you I was going to ask you in this hearing. Can you please articulate for the committee the current binding Supreme Court precedent with respect to birthright citizenship and the 14th Amendment?
Thank you, Senator Padilla, for the question, and thank you for the opportunity to meet with you. I really appreciated the cordial conversation that we had on Monday evening in your office. I do recall that in that conversation you asked me to look at certain 19th century Supreme Court decisions, and I agreed to do that. I have done that since then. However, given that this is a matter that would be very likely to come within my purview, I don't think it'd be appropriate for me to comment
another
on.
dodge. Thank you. Ms. Dillon. Now, your record demonstrates to me, and as a fellow Californian, I've seen your work closely, you've opposed key voting rights protections over the years, including the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act. You fought against the use of Voting Rights Act to challenge discriminatory laws. You've also spread disinformation about the 2020 election, and you defended restrictive voting laws in multiple states. Now, in 2019, you sued the California Department of Motor Vehicles, alleging issues with the state's motor voter program. However, an audit found no widespread voter fraud. The lawsuit was unsuccessful, and that was just one of, I think, about 10 lawsuits that you brought against the state when I was Secretary of State, all unsuccessful, many dismissed. Will you commit, or how can you convince us that based on this track record that you would equally enforce, fairly enforce voting rights through the Department of Justice?
Thank you for your question, Senator. When we had the opportunity to meet in your office yesterday, I gave you one example of California's failure to abide by the NVRA and make its voter rolls clean, and that is 1 million voters, quote unquote, in Los Angeles County alone, which the County of Los Angeles agreed in a consent decree.
So I'm going to cut you off because my time is limited. My recollection is the county agreed to adopt additional practices on maintaining voter rolls. All the lawsuits were unsuccessful.
Well, that's not true, factually, Senator. Actually, I've won several lawsuits against California at the United States Supreme Court during the time that you were the Secretary of State. In the interest of my time left, a couple of questions for Mr. Reitz. Thank you for being here. Appreciate the time in my office. As part of our homework, I came across some disturbing social media posts of yours. I'd like to present them for the record and ask if they are indeed you, as they appear to be. In February of 2021, you wrote, Bostock is the worst SCOTUS decision since Obergefell. We all knew that'd be the case, but the left's almost total reliance on Bostock to support its insane cram down of the radical LGBTQ agenda is breathtaking. Is this you? Yes or no?
Senator Padilla, it was indeed nice visiting with you the other day.
April of 2021, friendly reminder that birthright citizenship is not a thing. Was this your post? Yes or no?
That appears to be my X handle, yes, Senator.
Thank you. November 2020. Once again, Chip is one of a tiny handful of Texas Republicans with a spine, unwilling to capitulate to an obviously fraudulent election. Wish there were others. Was this you or not?
That appears to be my X handle, yes,
Thank
Senator.
you. And lastly, for the record, I know my time is up. In September of 2020, I believe it was, bring back the good old days. For the record, this is a picture of the infamous Joe McCarthy. Was this your post, yes or no?
That appears to be my X handle, Senator.
Enough said. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Senator Padilla. Senator Schmidt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do find it fascinating, though, that my friends on the other side of the aisle are very concerned all of a sudden about an administration ignoring Supreme Court decisions. Mr. Sauer, you and I brought these